TOEFL speaking question 6 seems simple, and the actual idea of the question is simple. You're going to listen to a brief portion of a lecture and answer a question. So there's no reading portion. The question is not long and difficult to understand. In fact, it might be the easiest part of the whole overall question. But the lecture will typically be a little more dense, a little more vocabulary heavy than the rest of the questions that you'll be encountering. The best thing that you can do to prepare for this, aside from watching these videos and practicing the questions, is being familiar with subject-specific vocabulary like we have available on the site, because most of the topics will cover, say, archaeology, biology, anthropology, some sort of academic topic that it is likely that a college student would face. So let's go over this specific example question and talk about some strategies, grammar points, and other things that you can do to feel prepared. This question reads, using the main point and examples from the lecture, explain the 2 benefits of domesticating animals. So you can count on the fact that when you first get started, you're going to have obviously some idea of what's going to be covered in the lecture. So we're talking about domesticating animals here, and we know that we're listening out for these 2 benefits. Typically, the format that the lecture will follow is it will introduce a main concept and followed by 2 subtopics or examples regarding that topic. So you'll have one overarching topic that's something academic, something related to, like I said, biology, chemistry, anthropology, some sort of academic topic, and then the professor will elaborate with 2 subtopics or 2 examples used to illustrate what they're talking about. So let's go ahead and listen to the lecture for this specific question and dive right in.
Listen to part of a lecture in an anthropology class.
Animal domestication is the most important development in the past 13,000 years of human history. This development interests many of us today because it provides most of our food, and it was a prerequisite to the rise of civilization. Today, I'm going to walk you through 2 benefits of domesticating animals. First, domestication of animals provided food and secured a regular supply of fresh meat. Because the hunter is dependent on the luck of the chase, subsisting by hunting wild animals is unreliable. In comparison, domesticating animals provided a more reliable and regular supply of food. Furthermore, it reduced the risk of living in an unreliable environment, because livestock provided a way of storing food in the village, and herds could be moved to more favorable places when times were hard. The first animals known to have been domesticated as a source of food were sheep in the Middle East. Sheep provided meat, milk, and fur. In addition, they also were ruminants, which meant they could digest the cellulose from grass, thus making infertile land more useful. Second, it provided products. Take goats as an example. They produced milk. People could drink milk and use milk to make cheese. In addition, their hair could be used as fiber for clothing. The skin and bones were also used as well. Historically, goat hide has been used for water and wine bottles in both traveling and transporting wine for sale. It has also been used to produce parchment, which was the most common material used for writing in Europe until the invention of the printing press.
Okay, so from that lecture, what were we able to learn? Well, the professor is talking about animal domestication, right? That's the overarching theme from an anthropology class. And he discusses the point of why it is the most important development in 13,000 years of history. So he talks about 2 benefits, the first being a regular supply of meat and sustenance, lower risk, less work and chance involved than there is in hunting. The example that he gave to illustrate this benefit was the sheep in the Middle East, which were the first animals who were domesticated, and the benefits they provided the people there were their meat, milk, and fur. Then he goes into discussing the second benefit, what products animals provide. So goats provide milk and they can be eaten. However, they also provide products. Their fur, skin, and bones can be used to create things. And for a time, their hide was largely and widely used as parchment or wineskins all across a large area, so they were very useful in that way as well. So how can you structure the answer when you get to that part of the test? It's best to start off first with the explanation of the topic. So introduce the idea of whatever is being discussed, in this case, domesticating animals. Then you want to move on to the first example or concept, and then the second example or concept. Here we know, because of the question, we're discussing two benefits. So for this question, it would be the explanation of domesticating animals, the first benefit, the second benefit, and then you want to conclude. So using these notes that we have from the lecture and this structure, now we can start working on our sample answer. One good way to start with this question is you can always start off by saying the lecture is about. Nice and simple. Sometimes I've found it can really help if you don't have to think about the first thing you say. So if you go in knowing, okay, question 6, I'm going to start off saying the lecture is about, and then all I have to do is drop in the topic and work in my notes. So let's pull all of this together into one 60-second full sample answer. The lecture is about animal domestication, what the professor calls the most important development in 13,000 years of human history. He discusses the two large benefits that come from domesticating animals. The first benefit is once animals are domesticated, they can provide a regular supply of fresh meat and sustenance. Having them in fields and domesticated allows for a lower risk and less chance involved from hunting. It's less work and less energy expended. He illustrated this through an example of sheep in the Middle East, which were the first animals who were domesticated, and they provide the benefits of meat, milk, and fur. The second benefit he discussed were the products that come from animals. So, for example, goats provide fur, skin, bones, and milk for products. So not just food, they also can be used to create products, and their hide has been used to make parchment and wineskins. Those are the two benefits that were discussed about domesticating animals. Okay, so we have put together a full sample answer there. We started off with the lecture is about, we gave our answer structure, we had time for a conclusion, and we fully answered the question.